Burnham has jumped his last hurdle on the way to becoming Prime Minister. Almost exactly a month ago, he became an MP. Then he ran unopposed to replace Sir Keir Starmer at the head of the Labour Party. And today, he was officially installed in that position with the keys to number 10 coming his way on Monday. In a speech, he set out some of his main priorities when he moves to Downing Street, saying he is ready and his leadership is the most significant change moment in our politics in 40 years. He also pledged to give people hope, promising to unite the country around a common cause. One key priority will be reforming social care in England, and we'll have more on that in a moment. But first, Chris Mason as our top story tonight.
He's wearing a suit more often these days. The man who'll be Prime Minister on Monday turned up today to be confirmed as Labour leader. No one here was expecting a surprise. This was a contest with only one contestant.
The duly elected leader of the Labour Party is Andy Burnham.
They might not like him eventually. He might do something really, really bad that's worse than Keir Starmer.
Big time. 3 times Mr Burnham's run to be Labour's leader. This is third time lucky.
I know what I believe after 25 years as an elected Labour representative.
You help me with this stuff.
I know
I've been walking around
what
them
I
on rock
want
top
to
and
do
keep them
working with you all. I have a plan.
But he will soon confront the facts of governing life in an era where patience is short.
Britain took a series of wrong turns in the 1980s. Political power was centralised and economic power was privatised. The right knew the Brits take back control, but they are the ones who gave it away in the first place. If we want an economy and a country that works for all people and places, then it requires a new path to the one we've been on for the last 40 years. The government, I believe, will confidently lay that path out starting next week. And that is why this change today is the most significant change moment in our politics for 40 years.
That is a bold claim, so who will deliver
is
this?
that little
I don't
Julie?
know.
That
And
bird.
contrary to what you may keep on reading, I haven't made any decisions yet about who will be in that top team.
And this is how he concluded.
That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope. Thank you very much.
Time to grab a word with a few Labour folk.
Is this the reboot the party needs?
I think it's an exciting moment. I think, first of all, the hope and the optimism. I think it's possible to say there are some big things to fix in the UK, but you have to bring people with you.
It's never easy changing leader, but actually I think we've done it in a way that's been respectful, dignified.
You managed to minimise any sense of a shambles, which it could have been.
It could have been difficult, and it's not been.
Can better presentation, can vibes, if you like, make enough of a difference?
Look, no, but it can make a difference, and that's important. Leadership matters, personality matters, but ultimately people are judges on what difference we have made to their lives.
Next for Andy Burnham, meeting Labour activists in Gravesend in Kent. He's taken vanishingly few questions from journalists in recent weeks, but he did take some today.
Mr Burnham, you've just said up the road that you haven't made any decisions yet about who will appoint to your top team. Why on earth not? You're taking over on Monday.
Because you do that when you do take over.
Of course you're not going to tell me now who your Chancellor's going to be. That will wait for Monday and people will understand that. But you must know in your own mind. Or you genuinely tell me you genuinely don't right now?
Finalising those decisions, and I will come to conclusions very shortly.
You've talked passionately about ending infighting.
It's just a car. It's not ours,
Is that a
is
big
it?
victory?
It's not like you can ring me every week and I'll ring you. That's not
Well,
happening.
there was obviously a decision taken by the PLP. It wasn't by me. I wasn't the
Dad.
Labour Party. I wasn't.
I had no idea about the
I
about
wasn't in a
Frank
position to be involved in that.
I want to ask you about social
He didn't know when it was on.
Clearly something that really
And
interests you.
I
How
make
quickly
Keegan
can you deliver
just
change for people? Can that happen in the
check
next couple of years?
I think it's about being prepared to grasp the nettle. And I know,
It'll take time, won't it?
well, I've got personal experience of the system. My dad has Alzheimer's, and you see, what the staff have to put up with. It's not their fault. The system's broken.
Andy Burnham, our fifth Prime Minister in 4 years, starts in 3 days. Chris Mason, BBC News.
More from Chris in a moment, but while there are few details of the policies Andy Burnham will pursue when he enters number 10 next week, as we've just heard, one of the issues he says he'll expend a lot of political capital on is social care in England. Successive governments have achieved little success in this area, and for Mr Burnham, it's personal, as Alison Holt reports.
When I said I was going to do politics differently, I meant it.
On the agenda for both Andy Burnham and for those asking him questions in a video edited by his team is one of the thorniest issues facing politicians: reform of the overstretched, outdated care system that supports older and disabled people.
My dad's got Alzheimer's, so I've kind of become very familiar with the English social care situation from a family person's point of view. If there's one area that I'm going to expend quite a lot of political capital, it's going to be on social care.
No details as yet, and the difficulties of reform should not be underestimated.
You seem to fit what you normally wear. Come on to it. My mummy won't know. Well, then the vet instead.
He has to make the numbers improve and add up across the whole nation. Faisal Imran, BBC News.
You're just making me bad. I don't want to get in trouble.
Chris is with me now. He says he has a plan for the nation. Are we any the wiser as he prepares to take over?
I think it's being sketched out, Mark. I think it's also true to say there's plenty that we are yet to learn. And there's a bigger picture challenge, I think, for Andy Burnham, which is that we've had the heat waves and we've had the World Cup and we've had the summer holidays starting for some, underway for a while for others. Labour changing leader not at a general election and without an internal contest. So Andy Burnham has something of a job of work to do, I think, to introduce himself to the country, and will be doing that as Prime Minister. It looks like there's going to be a blitz of announcements and appearances next week and beyond once he is Prime Minister. Recent days, the access talks have been continuing, so that's Mr Burnham and his team talking to civil servants, talking about their plans, talking about what they want to achieve in the coming months. He's also started receiving security briefings. So the handover has been underway for a while, but it is now really stepping up. At the 2 events I was at today, what was really striking on a human level is Labour folk are smiling again. They feel like they're back into the political tussle. And it will be a tussle because Andy Burnham will have to deal with all of the problems that Keir Starmer was wrestling with. Nigel Farage in a speech today, the Reform leader, talking about Andy Burnham as the great chameleon of British politics, capable of being all things to all people, and his mandate or lack of it being questioned. And Mr Burnham will know on this last weekend before he becomes Prime Minister that the last few Prime Ministers have not had a vast amount of job security. So I think that's one reason amongst many why I want to crack on quickly come Monday.
All right, Chris, thank you. Chris Mason, our political editor. And on Monday, there'll be a BBC News special. Andy Burnham, Prime Minister, beginning at 10 a.m. on BBC One.
My sweetheart. He's kissed.
Victoria will have more on Newsnight over on BBC Two at 10:30. Hello.
How could you?
Hi, Clive. Yes, Andy Burnham setting out his stall as Labour leader. Can he really maintain Labour unity?
Oh, yes.
In a way, tonight's political insiders, Burnham mentors and some of his closest allies with their verdict. Join us live. It's a Newsnight kind of night, 10:30 BBC Two. See you shortly.
All right, thanks, Victoria. Now, the mother of Vikram Digwan, the man jailed.
Andy Burnham, new Labour leader, dancing to new orders, true faith, which is what Labour evidences and members in this hall have in him. Though, as the lyric says, he used to think that this day that he always wanted would never come, but it did at midday. The Home Secretary said,
The duly elected leader of the Labour Party is Andy Burnham.
Thanks, Oliver. The
the biggest thank you went to someone who won't be reciprocating, the man he ousted, Keir Starmer.
I am ready. Ready to lead and to build on the foundation laid by one person more than any other. Under Keir Starmer's leadership, we went from our worst defeat to one of the best victories in our history.
But after he becomes Prime Minister on Monday, what will he actually do?
I will tell you about 5 things. First, I will work relentlessly to build a culture of one Labour team.
Which he said meant no more factionalism, and unlike under Starmer, he'd have all shades of Labour in his cabinet and he wouldn't punish dissenters.
This brings me to my second change. I will work to build a new politics. How can politicians point fingers when living standards are falling and politics as a whole isn't working? Let's be honest, everybody. This is a last chance to change, and we must take it together, united together. My third change is our political direction. I will set a direction that is distinctively Labour.
So his government will be taking control, he said, of housing, energy, transport and other important components of the cost of living.
And that is why this change today is the most significant change moment in our politics for 40 years.
The fourth pledge?
I will be a leader for the North, the South, the East and the West, for Scotland, Wales and for Northern Ireland. This brings me to my 5th and final promise. We will take power back from Westminster and Whitehall and give it to the place where you live.
Andy Burnham says that his election as Labour leader, his appointment as Prime Minister on Monday, is the most significant moment of change in British politics since the 1980s. Huge ambitions. We're yet to get the detail. Maybe we'll get some of it next week. Is this the most important change in 40 years as Andy Burnham?
Oh, I can't really make a judgment on that. It ensures that the country will go forward, will do it steadily and then accelerate.
The sense of some parts of the UK feeling that the best days were behind them rather than ahead of them. I'm afraid that is something, and we have to turn that around.
He's not dividing the North and the South, and I won't let him.
The removal van arrived at Downing Street to take Starmer's stuff away. Bishop's move. If politics is chess, Starmer has been checkmated by Burnham. This game is over, another begins. Robert Peston, ITV News.
Well, Andy Burnham promised to be a Prime Minister for all people and all places. He said he would bring the country and his party back together. But what do voters and MPs think of that? Here's our political correspondent, Romilly Weeks.
As Andy Burnham rolls into government unopposed and untested, many of his plans still hazy, at Weeting Steam Fair in Norfolk, have long to show he's got better answers to the same challenges as the man who he's replacing. Romilly Weeks, TV News.
Our political editor, Robert Peston, is back here now. Robert, you said it in your report, lots of ambition in Andy Burnham's speech today.
That's exactly right, but not a lot of detail, and I have to say quite a lot of contradiction. So, on the one hand, he says he wants to govern in a more consensual way, which he'll certainly have to do if he fixes some of the big challenges that he's identified, like social care. He's going to have to work with the other parties if he's going to get a long-term plan to fix the care of infirm, older people. But then he also said, we are going to be the most Labour government for more than 40 years, which sounds as though he's actually going to make the party a bit more tribal. And then there's something else, which is in order to prove that he's going to be the most Labour party in 40 plus years, he says he's going to take control over what he sees as the big components of surging cost of living that we all suffer from. You know, so energy, he says he's going to take control of, transport, housing, you know, among other, as I say, you know, big water is another one. You know, and if he were to do that, potentially would cost a lot of money. We've got to wait and see what the detail of that is. But equally, if it is nationalisation, and some of it will be,
There are many in the business community who say they hate that kind of stuff, it's not pro-business. But he also said in his speech today he's going to be very pro-business. And then there's another thing. One of the reasons Labour MPs currently appear to love him is because he says he's going to end the infighting and also punish dissent in the party far less than Keir Starmer did. You'll remember Keir Starmer actually expelled MPs from the Labour Party who criticised him. He's not going to have any of that. The party's going to be united. But when he went to Gravesend today, just to prove that he cares as much about the South as the North, he was asked how he can claim to be the person who's going to end infighting, given that he's just knifed the current Prime Minister, which was a sort of aid to Brute moment. Normally, when one leader topples another, it doesn't end civil war, it's just the beginning, maybe in a slow way, of another civil war. Much more detail to find out. We're going to get a lot of it next week, and we'll know much more about really what this government will be about when he appoints the cabinet on Monday.
What a moment.
Stop it.
What backing you've given me. All our affiliated trade unions, all our socialist societies, 379 of our MPs, and I don't need to say commiserations to Catherine West, because she backed me too. Thanks, Catherine. And all of them heard the call from the people of Makerfield on behalf of forgotten places everywhere around this country for a return of the Labour they once knew. And now we answer that call. We will be that version of Labour again. We are united today, as Holly said, as Lucy said and Shabana said, and thank you so much for your words. We are united, and we put the power that comes from that unity at the service of people and places who have been waiting too long for politics to let them hope again. And that's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to give them hope back. This is a proud moment you have given me and my family today, and an emotional one. But it is one for which I am ready. I am ready. Ready to lead and to build on the foundation laid by one person more than any other. Under Keir Starmer's leadership, we went from our worst defeat to one of the best victories in our history. Keir put Labour back in a position to change people's lives, and that is what we have been doing these last 2 years. New rights for workers and for renters. NHS waiting lists falling for the first time in years. In fact, since I was Health Secretary, I think, so well done, Wes. Rail back under public control. Britain's reputation rebuilt on the world stage. And as Lucy said, just this week, the biggest rebalancing of the scales of justice this country has ever seen. Today we thank Keir for his service to our party and to our country.
Yeah, now.
10 years ago, he and I worked together, drawing up the original Hillsborough law in my office,
Where are you getting freedom from?
of the second Hillsborough inquest, and I drew on all of his legal expertise when I presented the bill to Parliament.
It's gonna be a while.
To be in Parliament on Tuesday, when he delivered on his promise to the Hillsborough families and all of the other campaigners who were part of the Hillsborough Law Now campaign. A promise to end the cover-up culture in this country, to pass power from the authorities to ordinary people, and to prevent anyone in future going through what the Hillsborough families did. It felt to me like life coming full circle. to this stage today began in earnest at Anfield in April 2009. The COP made me confront the fact that this country does not work for working class communities like the city of my birth. In fact, it's worse. It turned its back on them. Political power was used viciously against them to protect vested interests. Economic power cruelly stripped with the deindustrialisation of the 1980s, as it was against so many places up and down the land. And let us never forget, these are the very same places that built this labour movement, this trade union movement where we are today, Paul. Those are the places, but they were the places that were done down. This labour movement, the trade union movement, was forged in the steelworks and ironworks of Sheffield, Scunthorpe, Port Talbot and Teesside, in the coal fields of South Wales, Central Scotland, Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire, Yorkshire and Lancashire, in the mills across the Pennines, west and east, in the shipyards on the Clyde and on the Tyne, and in the dockyards of Liverpool and here in London. The people of these proud places made labour, but we have to ask ourselves, just as I had to ask myself at Anfield that day, have we been good enough for them? Change starts with honesty. We must recognise that this generation of politicians, myself included, have failed to challenge a political culture and an economic model that simply doesn't work well enough for ordinary people. 4 decades of the neoliberalism that began in the 1980s have not been kind to the places that built our party, nor to the communities across the UK in rural and coastal areas. So we pledge today to them to be better. And as I accept the honour of leading this party forward,
we've got a Labour government,
I
we've
will
got a
tell
Labour
you
council.
about 5 things I will do to make us so, to make us better. First, I will work relentlessly to build a culture of one Labour team, because change starts with us. We won't beat Britain's new right if we are consumed by infighting and pulling in different directions. That is, and always has been, an indulgence that falls heaviest on the people who need Labour most. Fighting to eradicate it and the insidious briefing culture that goes along with it will characterise my leadership. In future, when a Burnhamite walks into a bar, as many Burnhamites are known to do, talking about you, Kevin. In future, when a Burnhamite walks into a bar, I want the barman to say, "Great to see you. We don't like factional politics in here." Now you might know, and your reaction suggests so, there's a different version of that joke told by people who put internal politics before anything else. But here's the truth. Their factionalism has bedeviled us. Today we move beyond it. I have supported all our Labour leaders in my lifetime because I believe a united Labour Party and Labour movement is the best hope for our country, and I know you believe that too, as do our members up and down the land. And I will lead this party in that spirit, not seeking to suspend or punish members who have principled views that may be different from mine, but building unity by respecting all shades of opinion. Contrary to what you may keep on reading, I haven't made any decisions yet about who will be in that top team, but I will soon, and when I have, you will see it reflects all parts of our party, all communities, and it will reflect your own place within this great party of ours. A stronger, more united Labour Party, lifting up a stronger and more united Britain. And this brings me to my second change. I will work to build a new politics. The country is crying out for it. We might enjoy the point scoring against others. The public don't. How can politicians point fingers when living standards are falling and politics as a whole isn't working for them? It infuriates them and makes them switch off. In Makerfield, I decided to make a break with this. I said we hadn't been good enough. I told people what I would do to fix it. You know what? People started to listen again. They gave us a fair hearing, as the great British public always do. And then another chance. But let's be honest, everybody, this is a last chance to change, and we must take it together, united together. Tell people what we will do, rather than always going on about others. If we do more of that, let's see if we can get the ear of the country as well, not just Makerfield. Let's take a problem-solving rather than a point-scoring approach. Let's have the courage to fix the big things that politics has neglected, like social care, and have the conviction to go out there together and argue for our plans. And let's have the self-confidence to find common ground with other parties where we can. By seeking more consensus, we may just find the change we make is more lasting. We may find our political discourse in this country becomes that little bit less toxic, and we should be working to achieve that too. And the turbulence of the last decade may not quite feel as so inevitable as it does today. My third change is our political direction. Yes, we will work with other parties where we can, but doing so from the clarity of knowing exactly where we stand. As your leader, I will set a direction that is distinctively Labour. We won't try to out-green the Greens, or out-reform reform, or doing what we've done in the past of wearing too many Tory clothes. Let me tell you, I'm quite happy that Kemi doesn't approve of my wardrobe choices, because I'm not keen on theirs either. From here, we do it differently. We win by being us. Boldly, confidently, authentically us. Labour. That's how we win. I want people to understand the thinking behind the political direction I set, so people can see the decisions we take and the reasons why. I am clear, Britain took a series of wrong turns in the 1980s. Political power was centralised and economic power was privatised. The country surrendered control of the essentials: housing, water, energy, transport, and left people exposed to higher costs. That in turn led to the concentration of more wealth and power in the hands of fewer people and fewer places. Large parts of Britain were deindustrialised without the power to set new ambitions for themselves. Proud British towns, now a shadow of what they once were, and high streets in decline, so common up and down the country. Slowly, at times imperceptibly, over 4 decades, political and economic power drained away out of our communities in every region and nation of the UK. If local places don't control something as basic as a bus service, how can they connect people to opportunity and turn things around? If the sell-off of council homes leaves the country chasing rents in the private rented sector through the benefits system and paying for temporary accommodation for thousands of families as they have to do here in London and elsewhere across the country, how then will we find the money to invest in prevention and improve people's lives? The truth is we can't. And if we don't have sufficient public control over the cost of the essentials, how can we have control over inflation, public spending, and the rest of the economy? The right used the phrase, take back control, but they are the ones who gave it away in the first place.
Hey sis, I got your package. I just wanted to say thank you for my Cadbury, but don't be spending your pocket money on me, all right? Just leave me a message. Miss you.
Giving a glass and a half makes home feel closer. There's a glass and a half in everyone.
If we want an economy and a country that works for all people and places, which to me should always be at the very core of Labourism, then it requires a new path to the one we've been on for the last 40 years. The government I lead will confidently lay that path out starting next week. And that is why this change today is the most significant change moment in our politics for 40 years. It will take us to a country where life is more affordable and all people and places are lifted from where they are now. And conference, this is my 4th commitment to you. I mean it when I say all places. I will be a leader for the North, the South, the East and the West, for Scotland, Wales and for Northern Ireland. Yes, the North of England has given me so much, everything in fact. And in return, I have sought to give it the strongest voice I could. That was my job. But now I do the same for everywhere. Because I see the same challenges everywhere I look. The same challenges can be found in the southwest as the northwest, or in East Anglia as the northeast. And this is the moment to speak for all parts of the country and unite people in a common cause. I love every part of this country. I love all the different accents, all of the different traditions, some of the football clubs. But no, I love every part of it. But I also know they can all be more than they are. And that's what kind of drives me in politics, the kind of feeling that they should be more than they are. The feeling that kids shouldn't have to leave those places, those proud places, to get on in life. We should make them more than they are. Help them.
Yeah, and we always went to every single fucking one.
More than they are. And this brings me to my 5th and final promise. We will take power back to Westminster and Whitehall and give it to the place where you live.
took my season ticket away.
More power over life's essentials so you can make them work better and more affordable for people. Just as my good friend Steve Rodwin is doing today as we are here at the TUC in London. He is at a meeting, chairing a meeting of the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority, and he is presenting to that meeting a plan to put the entire Merseyrail network back in public ownership by 2028.
I'm going to 20th for a little bit. 20th for a little bit.